The snowstorm had swallowed the city that night, burying the streets under a silence so heavy it felt like the world had stopped breathing. Ezra Thompson stood by the dim window of his small apartment, watching his daughter's frail body rest under thin blankets. The faint beep of the old oxygen machine filled the room, a cruel reminder that time was running out. His little girl, Lily, just 6 years old, was fighting a rare illness, and every day was a battle Ezra couldn't afford to lose. He had already sold everything: his car, his tools, his wedding ring, anything that could buy her another day. Yet tonight, the medicine shelf was empty, and so was his wallet. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of good hearts, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because sometimes a single act of kindness can change a life forever. Ezra had lost his job just 2 weeks earlier. The factory he'd worked at for 7 years had closed unexpectedly, leaving hundreds jobless right before Christmas. He had gone to interviews during the day, pretending to be strong for Lily, then spent nights crying silently beside her bed. The world seemed cold, cruel, and unforgiving. But that night, the storm outside looked even harsher than his own life. Just past midnight, as he went out to throw the trash, Ezra saw something that stopped him in his tracks. There, sitting under the flickering streetlight, was a woman curled up on the icy pavement, clutching a small boy who couldn't have been older than 4. They were both trembling, wrapped in thin clothes that barely protected them from the biting wind. Ezra hesitated. He had nothing left to offer, not warmth, not food, not comfort. But as he looked at the boy's shaking hands and the woman's desperate eyes, something inside him refused to walk away. Without thinking, Ezra rushed over. "Hey, are you two okay?" he asked softly. The woman's lips trembled as she tried to answer, but no sound came out. Her face was pale, her eyes heavy with exhaustion and fear. The little boy buried his face into her chest. Ezra's breath formed clouds in the freezing air as he looked at them. Two strangers who looked like they had been forgotten by the world. He knew what it felt like to be forgotten. "Come with me," he finally said. "I don't have much, but my daughter and I have a warm place. Please." He led them inside the small apartment. The woman hesitated at first, clearly embarrassed, but Ezra's kind eyes broke through her pride. Once inside, he gave them his last 2 blankets and heated a small pot of soup. Lily woke up and looked at them curiously, smiling weakly at the boy, who smiled back. Within minutes, the strangers began to thaw, both from the cold and from the invisible weight they carried. The woman introduced herself as Anna, and her son as Noah. She said she had recently moved to the city, looking for a fresh start, but everything had gone wrong. Her wallet had been stolen, and she had no one to turn to. Ezra didn't ask for details. He knew what it was like when life tore everything apart. Over the next few days, the apartment, once filled only with the sounds of machines and sorrow, began to feel alive again. Noah and Lily played together, laughing in ways Ezra hadn't heard in months. Anna helped around the house, cooked meals, and comforted Lily when Ezra had to leave for short job interviews. There was something about Anna that brought peace, a quiet strength that gave Ezra hope even when everything else seemed hopeless. Still, the bills piled up. Lily's medicine was too expensive, and Ezra was falling behind on rent. He tried everything, from day labor to fixing old appliances for neighbors, but it was never enough. One night, when he thought Anna and Noah were asleep, Ezra sat by the window and let his tears fall freely. "God," he whispered, "if you're there, please don't let me lose her." Anna, who had been quietly standing behind him, heard everything. Her heart ached. She wanted to tell him the truth, that she wasn't just some homeless woman, that she had resources, power, and connections that could change his life in a second. But she didn't. She wanted to see how far kindness could go without knowing there was anything to gain, because Anna was not who Ezra thought she was. She was the new CEO of the company that had bought the factory he used to work for. After inheriting her late father's business, she had wanted to understand the struggles of ordinary people before making major changes. Disguised and alone, she had been living among the workers, seeing life from their eyes. But she had never expected to meet someone like Ezra, a man who had nothing, yet still gave everything. To AS days turned into weeks. Anna grew closer to Ezra and Lily. She saw the love between father and daughter, the sacrifices, the sleepless nights, the laughter and pain. Ezra never asked for anything, never complained. He just kept giving, hoping, believing. Then one morning, Lily collapsed. Ezra panicked as he carried her limp body into the snow, racing to the nearest hospital. The doctors said she needed an urgent surgery, a rare and expensive procedure that Ezra couldn't even dream of affording. He sat in the cold hallway, his hands shaking, his face buried in them. For the first time, he truly felt defeated. That's when Anna walked in, dressed differently, no longer in her worn coat, but in a formal black jacket and heels. Ezra looked up, confused. "Anna," he whispered. She gave him a soft smile and placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Ezra, there's something you don't know about me." The following hours blurred for him. Papers were signed, doctors were called, and Lily was moved to a private room. Anna took care of everything, every cost, every formality. Ezra kept asking why, but she just told him to focus on his daughter. 2 days later, after Lily's surgery was declared a success, Anna finally sat down with him. She told him the truth, how she was the new CEO of the company he once worked for, how she had gone undercover to understand her employees' struggles, and how his act of kindness had changed everything. Ezra was speechless. He couldn't believe that the woman he had helped on a freezing night was the same person who now held the power to change his entire life. But Anna looked at him with tears in her eyes. "You saved me first," she said softly. "Before I could save anyone else, I needed to be reminded what real compassion looks like. You did that, Ezra." A week later, Ezra received a letter offering him a new position, manager of a new community outreach division that Anna was starting in the company. His job would be to help struggling families like his, providing employment and hope. It came with a good salary, full benefits, and medical coverage for Lily. For the first time in years, Ezra allowed himself to breathe freely. Months passed, and spring arrived. Lily grew stronger each day, her laughter filling the home again. Ezra and Anna remained close, bound not by pity, but by respect, trust, and something quietly blooming between them. They both knew their paths had crossed for a reason. Sometimes, the people we save are the ones who end up saving us. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and comment below, because your one click helps spread hope to others who need it most. Speech balloon special request. Comment below with "Kindness changes everything." If you believe that compassion can turn even the darkest nights into miracles, that in the end, Ezra realized something profound. Miracles don't always arrive wrapped in light. They often come shivering in the cold, waiting for someone brave enough to open the door. And when you choose kindness, the universe always finds a way to bring it back to you, multiplied, healed, and full of love. Because in a world that often feels heartless, kindness is the only true power left.